This is a picture of a multi-cycle resistance area that Bitcoin has to contend with every cycle. And when Bitcoin breaks through this area, has confirmed every cycle so far this parabolic bull run for all of crypto. This is what it looks like on the Bitcoin daily chart. In this video, I want to talk about what we might anticipate as Bitcoin trades within this range. And in terms of altcoins like ADA, Ethereum, what does this chart, what do the bull market doors have to do with what happens next on the zoomed out charts for ADA and Ethereum? So we're going to talk about in today's video. So hit the subscribe, hit the like. Let's jump into the video. I want to point something out. I just came across this post yesterday. Bitcoin ETFs are taking 10x more Bitcoin off the market. Can you say supply shock? Supply shock is what's happening right now. Then are being minted daily. If these inflows hold through the halving, then Bitcoin ETFs will be taking 20 times more off the market than the daily mint. The supply shock that is already starting to occur, this demand factor that's starting to really play into these charts. You see it on the Bitcoin daily. We've seen it, just the buildup of it. This could just speed up. And so as we approach now the Bitcoin halving, which is right here, this is getting heated. I just wanted to point that out as we really dissect these charts and talk about where we are from a macro perspective. But I do want to talk about this move. So the bull market doors, many of you are aware, it's very simply bull market high. I just want to, for anybody that's new here, bull market high to bear market low. It's this Fibonacci retracement, retracing back to this resistance area, lower high area. It's the channel right there. This is what it looks like on the daily chart right now. As you know, zoomed out in cycles past, Bitcoin has broken through the Bitcoin bull market doors after the halvings, just like clockwork, right? Interestingly enough, Bitcoin is within those doors pre-halving. Now, before we dissect the daily and talk about what kind of maybe kind of trading action to look for, I want to point something out on the monthly chart, because this is if we take into account the supply shock that we just discussed, this is really cool. If we look at the momentum oscillator and we zoom out and we look, okay, every time Bitcoin has broken those doors, like for instance, back here in December 2016, post the 2016 halving, if we look at the RSI, this is where the RSI was. The slower moving momentum oscillator was an overbought. We go to the 2012 halving, right after that, when Bitcoin broke those doors. Where was the RSI? Quite overbought. And if we go to even the last halving, 2020 halving, Bitcoin broke those bull market doors, November 2020. Many of you remember, overbought. Every single time Bitcoin was at this level, breaking the doors and overbought, Bitcoin still had so much upside in play. Now, check this out. If you want to talk about how much upside is in play for Bitcoin right now, Bitcoin's not even overbought. And Bitcoin is halfway through the bull market doors, this lower high multi-cycle Fibonacci retracement, and it's early this time. It's prior to the halving. So that just gives you a sense of the upside in play. Going over to Bitcoin on the daily, 18% is the range. It's around 18% range from the 618 to the 786 area. And to give you an idea, Bitcoin is basically, as I do this video, it's basically halfway there, right? 8 to 9%, just wick to 9%. It's halfway through the bull market doors. But I started thinking, that's what it looks like. Get a glimpse of that. It's just pretty much up so far after breaking the 618, right around 48,000. I want to do this. I want to zoom out just a bit. We're on the same daily chart, and I want to go to the last bull market doors of the last cycle, right? This was November 2020. Look at the price action. I think it's a good idea to dissect this. A couple things I just want to note. Number one is it broke the doors, maybe 5 to 6% to the upside, and then maybe 5% dip to test the 618. I want to just point that out. The 618 was tested, and then we continued to upside, and then almost getting to the 786, Bitcoin on the daily, you can see dipped, right? And that dip, by the way, was around a 10% dip. And there's a couple red candles there. So 2 days worth of, oh man, probably some doubt there, right? So again, just to remind you what the chart is looking like right now on the daily, I'm going to scroll back over. This is what it looks like, right? You can actually even see there was a quick wick on that one daily red candle to test the 618 area. And right now, you can see Bitcoin making a move to upside. This is to say there's room for downside through this range now, whether it's back to the 618, right, around 48,000. Whether we see a little bit more green and then we're just kind of wicking back down. Maybe it's sideways. We have to see and wait to see how Bitcoin consolidates here, because every cycle, it kind of is different. I want to just go back to the cycle before 2020. Let's go back to 2016. Look at the volatility here. Bitcoin actually broke above and out of the bull market doors quite quickly and then fell all the way back down very briefly below the 618. It's important to watch now how Bitcoin interacts with the bull market doors. We go one more cycle just because we're all the way back here. This is pretty much the most parabolic move through the bull market doors. You see the variety of all of these moves, right, in this crucial area through this lower high Fibonacci. So the question is going to be, how does Bitcoin this time around, interact with the bull market doors? You can see how it is so far. Nothing out of the ordinary, but I think it's a good idea to consider volatility is in play. But noting one last time, on this monthly, crazy to see how much momentum to the upside there is. Bitcoin not even overbought right now. So going over to ADA and Ethereum, I want to point something out. We're not going to do some crazy short-term technical analysis, but I want to show you something. There's going to be a lot of talk, especially as Bitcoin continues its move to the upside. Some altcoins are, and it'll be specific altcoins, not every altcoin, but some altcoins are lagging. Some altcoins, why is Bitcoin making that move through that lower high Fibonacci and ADA and Ethereum and others aren't? Why are altcoins lagging? Cycles past in this area around Bitcoin halving, this is what happens. But this is historically, this is the last time Bitcoin sees this dominance factor in play. And real quick, just want to go over to the Bitcoin dominance chart. This is the last time the dominance factor for Bitcoin historically around the Bitcoin halving has this last upside before really starting to go into this bull cycle, right? Now, obviously, this move of dominance, it's a little bit after halving, but remember, the move that's happening right now is prior to the halving for Bitcoin, this power move. So what happens, though, historically zoomed out after halving? Bitcoin dominance falls after halving. Bitcoin dominance falls. And what's happening now? Bitcoin dominance isn't even that powerful. We're in this macro downtrend, lower highs for Bitcoin dominance. So even right now on this weekly chart, since November, October, Bitcoin dominance not even making really a power move. Bitcoin halving coming up, altcoin season is getting ready to approach. So I wanted to point that out before just dissecting what we're about to dissect, and that is this. Excuse me. In terms of the bull market doors for these cryptos, these altcoins, the bull market doors are different for altcoins than they are for something like Bitcoin. I don't use the Fibonacci lower highs, but for the sake of giving you a very important illustration of how these cycles work with altcoins, check this out. These are the bull market doors if we were to use the Fibonacci retracement for ADA, right? Bull market doors kind of like up here in this green range up here. Last cycle around $1.11 to like 90 cents, right? Now just notice when Bitcoin was breaking the bull market doors in November 2020, that means actually back here, that means ADA was 700% away from its own Fibonacci. Was ADA lagging? I mean, yeah, in that regard, from that indicator perspective, it was lagging. But that just illustrates what happened next. ADA did break those doors, right? And it was just a parabolic move. But this is exactly why I like to use the bull market doors for Bitcoin to really indicate what is about to get ready to happen on altcoins, so that we're not sitting around waiting and saying, you know what, let's wait for the bull market doors for ADA, right? By that time, ADA is breaking all-time highs practically. You're getting ready to break all-time highs. You see this crazy wick above $1 in that last cycle. But using the bull market doors for Bitcoin, you can see how the Bitcoin bull market doors were a leading indicator last cycle. And it's the same thing happening right now. Bitcoin's in its own bull market doors. It's a leading indicator for ADA. And if you go look at Ethereum, very similar, but check out this point of diminishing returns now for Ethereum. Let's point something out. Last cycle, when Bitcoin was breaking the bull market doors, November 2020, Ethereum still over 100% away from its own lower high Fibonacci. This cycle around, check it out. as this is happening on Bitcoin, it's only like 15, 20% away. Look at that diminishing return. And actually the same is true even on something like ADA. We go over to ADA from where it is right now to its own lower high Fibonacci. It's around 200%. So last cycle, it was 700% away. This cycle is 200%. But those are some nice gains in store for ADA just to even get to its lower high Fibonacci. We're not even talking about breaking all-time high and going into new highs. And the same is with Ethereum. So my point being, using the bull market doors for Bitcoin is one thing, right? It really signifies we know what happens next post-halvings historically. There's no guarantee it will happen again, but historically, we know what happens when these doors are broken. Bitcoin makes a really nice move. But it's the leading indicator that we find within those bull market doors on Bitcoin that says, you know what? Altcoins, although lagging right now and not breaking their own lower high Fibonacci's, they're getting ready to make their own moves, right? And these altcoins have different indicators, I think, that define their own bull market doors. One for ADA that I've been tracking is a Lux Algo indicator that I think I mentioned on this channel before that hasn't triggered on the weekly. I'll talk about that in another video. But there's certain things happening down here in altcoin land that brings into play their own type of bull market doors. So that's why I don't use the lower high Fibonacci range as any type of bull market door confirmation for altcoins. And you can see exactly why. But the importance of the Bitcoin bull market doors, I can't highlight enough. So wanted to point that out on these altcoin charts. Those are my thoughts on Bitcoin and altcoins today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, everybody. I appreciate you. Hope you're having a good day so far. Let's see how these markets move. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.